Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Friendly Counselor Live on Facebook. Tonight we have a very interesting topic, and as folks come on, I will allow for a few minutes as folks begin to log on. Thank you for coming. Please share this video, like the video, and invite your friends to watch the video. Welcome to Facebook Live, the Friendly Counselor segment for tonight. We will be talking about rumination, the process of overthinking our past mistakes. So for tonight, we will be focusing on that. Please like the video, share the video. Welcome. Thank you for coming on to the Friendly Counselor Live tonight. Please share this video. Thank you for coming on to the Friendly Counselor Live video. Hi, Noelyn. Hi, Kimba. Good evening. Mayma, good evening, everybody. Thank you guys for coming on. Please share this video on your Facebook page with your friends and invite folks to come on, share, like the video. So tonight we will be talking about the art of ruminating, overthinking our past mistakes, and the effects it has on our mental health and physical health. So the topic is very interesting because I feel like it's something that most of us, fall short when it comes to overthinking, our mistakes and being hard on ourselves. So yesterday, Facebook crashed, Instagram crashed, and I heard that WhatsApp crashed too. And everybody, it's funny because I was trying to get information out there, and it seems like I was so disconnected. I was trying to put my announcement on for my Facebook Live video, and every time I click and put up my announcement, it would just sit there. And I said, oh my goodness, this is just to say that we are so connected via social media. And when something like this impacts us, it seems as though our whole world is disconnected. So yesterday can everybody see me? Can you guys see me? Okay. Something was going on with my connection. Can you see me now? Say yes. Wave. Okay, thank you. So for our topic tonight, I will be discussing the effects of, rumination and overthinking our past mistakes. Over a period of years now, I have worked with clients in therapy for a while now. And everybody comes with their own course. They come with their own worldview of many things. Every person comes with a book. So to see, the life is a book. The life is a word within itself. Over time, we realize that there are certain patterns of behavior that emerges, and it kind of blinds us. We're not aware of some of the paths that we have taken, and those paths, some negative patterns of behavior that actually can cause a list of mental blunders, like we say. It's a list of blunders that, list of mistakes, blunders, things that we repeat over and over. And these blunders are psychological blunders. It undermines our well-being, our physical well-being. So ruminating, thinking about your past mistakes, thinking about things that has happened in your past, whether or not it's a failed relationship, it's issues that you're having at your place of work. It might be maybe something that you did not accomplish, some goal, some life event that has allowed you to be stuck, and you think about it over and over. Some mistake that you did a while back, and you think about it over and over, and you're in that circle of ruminating. Rumination is like a radio player that is stuck on one song, and over and over and over that song plays itself. That's the exact process in your mind. You overplayed the scenario. You and a friend had a fight, and in your mind, you play that fight over and over in your head. You can't stop thinking about how this happened. There are times that we may do things that we can't believe, we actually did. Guys, I'm telling you, it's something that overpowers you. If you do not control rumination or overthinking about your past mistakes, it causes you to stay in this area where you're stuck. From my past life experience recently, I found myself in a situation that I could not believe, actually, that I got myself into. And I play it over and over in my head, and I just could not comprehend, how I got to be involved in this situation. I couldn't let it go. I was like that music radio player over and over and over, because my thinking, I was stuck in my thought process. So when you overthink your past mistakes, you tend to obsess about what's happening. So like I said, maybe your boss is mad at you. Supervisor called you into the office, tell you about your performance, something that you are not doing well. And then you try to process it over and over. What is going on? In your mind, you are repeating that conversation. Now, you tell me if you had a conversation, or maybe it was an evaluation, and that evaluation kind of came out to a place where you didn't get all fours. Fours being the highest, and your supervisor told you that, okay, well, you got maybe a 3 or a 2 on satisfactory. That's something that sticks to your mind, and that's something that you play out, especially if you feel that you deserve more than that. Rumination leads to that. It leads to a lot of harmful results. For some people, it's like drinking, binge drinking. It's a way that they cope. So imagine when a person is binge drinking, what they are doing. The process of binge drinking, they're drowning themselves. So rumination is the same thing. You drown yourself in your thoughts. You play over and over what is happening, and you get stuck in that negative circle. Imagine, guys, if you are thinking about the negative events that are happening, what do you think you're going to think about? More of the negative. So you are drowning every positive thought that can possibly come to free you from those negative thoughts. You want to think about the negative thoughts. And so therefore, you find yourself in that cyclone over and over and over. So the more negative thoughts that you think about, the more negative thought that you will breed and germinate. You feel helpless because, like I said, you feel stuck. You feel that you're in this track, in this negative mindset. You feel hopeless. You feel helpless. You feel as though there's nothing you can do to change the situation. And so it becomes a fast track of helplessness. So if you were to see a fast train moving and you are on the train tracks, or you are about to cross the train tracks, and that train is coming so quickly, you have a choice to either avoid that train or decide to cross and get hit by the train. Some people avoid the train, some people make poor decisions and they don't make it to cross the train station. And ruminating is the same thing. It can turn your loved ones away, people that are around you, people that care for you. Nobody wants you to be in this negative circle all of the time. And so naturally, we are prone to overthink. Naturally, we are prone to process our negative and positive thoughts. So what happens when your friends or family members see that you are stuck on this past mistake, this past event, and they try to pull you out of it, and no matter what they do or say, you are stuck there, they will leave you alone. And so we tend to say, well, nobody cares. Sometimes I have clients that tells me, they don't see my problem. They don't see what I am going through. Yes, I made a mistake, but nobody wants to forgive me. So then my thing is, have you forgiven yourself? Because that is the entire process. So it turns basically your friends away. We have this saying in Liberia, whenever you have a dream, sometimes we interpret the dream, oh, I had a bad dream, so something bad will happen to me. I dream about snakes, so that means that I'm going to have enemies after me. There's some truth to that. Some people believe in that and actually believe that it happens. But if you had a dream that you're eating rice in your sleep and you wake up, you are not eating rice and you have not eaten that rice. It is just a dream of you eating rice. It's the same thing with our negative thoughts. Because you are ruminating and you are fostering negative thoughts over and over and over of how something play out, does not mean that it actually played out that way. So you have to kind of separate the fact from the fiction. You have to be able to see, okay, what is really happening here? And what is the true story? And what can I separate from my mind, truth versus fiction? Sometimes we hear that there are people that are overthinkers. It's true. There are natural overthinkers. There are people that no matter what happened, they are caught in that cognitive mindset of overthinking. So these type of people, they have to be able to take a while to process when something happens. So can you imagine if somebody makes a mistake, that person whose mindset is to overthink and they make that kind of a mistake, they can't forgive themselves because in their mind it's going to take a very long time. How did I make this mistake? Why did I allow myself to make this mistake? How could I? They beat up on themselves over and over. They are so hard on themselves. Sometimes there's nothing that you can do to tell them to change their mind. They overthink. And then, women, we tend to overthink more than men do. Women tend to ruminate more than men do. So if there was a problem at your place of work or a relationship that didn't go well, chances are you will find the woman ruminating over it, thinking about it. There are men that do ruminate as well, but more than likely women will overthink that situation. So, it's easy to say, how do you forgive yourself? How do you let go? Yesterday, I just had a session about forgiveness. And I had a client that said to me, you just let it go and forget about it and don't think about it anymore, Miss Quita. Is that easy? I said, yeah, well, it's not as easy as it sounds, especially for adults. If somebody did something to you, or you have done something to somebody that requires forgiveness, or something that you have done that requires you to forgive yourself and to move on, it's very easy to say forgive yourself and move on. Actually, there has to be a lot of work because with your mistakes come a feeling of overwhelming guilt and shame. And shame and guilt within itself are the most two emotions that are driving those feelings of overwhelming and rumination. So you find yourself depressed, you find yourself anxious, you find yourself, even with some physical diseases, sometimes heart diseases, there is no exact formula for life. And so when you find yourself constantly thinking about your past mistakes, what is actually happening to you is that you are causing a lot of physical stresses upon your life. Self-forgiveness can help you to aid to kind of move on from that negative spin of rumination. So why is this so difficult if we know that we need to forgive ourselves for our past mistakes, for things that we have done? Too often we push ourselves. We want to make up for the wrong that we have done. You cannot make up for the past. You cannot make up for the wrong that you have done. If it's something that you have done, it is over with. You can feel guilty. You can feel shame. You can process all of those emotions. Sometimes we start to call ourselves names. We are no good. We are losers, and we live in pain. And it may be a past relationship that maybe you may have seen the signs of that relationship and you allow certain things to happen. And so then you live in this negative emotional spin where you replay all of those situations where I should have known that this person was no good for me, or I should have known that this relationship was bad from the beginning. And you are stuck in this negative mindset, overthinking about what has happened. And so what happened is that you suck out the happiness and joy out of your life. Negative and positive cannot live in the same space. So if you are feeding all of those negative emotions, overthinking your past mistakes, what's actually happening to you is that you are not able to germinate more negative thoughts in your mind. And so you find that you feel hopeless and you feel helpless. You feel that there is nothing that you can do to even help the situation. So I'm going to give you guys some tips, and then I will open it up for some questions. First of all, the first thing that you can do is to talk about it. When it comes to your past, people try to avoid it. I'm not talking about it. It's the past. It's going to come back and haunt you. Your past mistakes are your past mistakes. However, in order to move past your past mistakes and blunders, you need to be able to acknowledge that, yes, it is true, I messed up. We all mess up. We all mess up. We all make mistakes. There is nobody perfect. However, how can I live past this mistake? Talk about it. Some people get teary about it. Some people are torn apart when they talk about it. And that's why sometimes people avoid therapy, because therapy is a process that takes you through catharsis, and you have to go in and you have to pretty much dig deep in those negative feelings and pull them out. People don't like to do it. There are some people that truly feel that I will leave the past in the past. I will avoid it. And what happens when you avoid those difficult situations, they manifest in other areas of your life. So talk about it. You can express it to a friend that you trust. You can express it to a mentor, a counselor, somebody that you can somebody that you can trust. Forgiveness starts with allowing yourself to be honest and vulnerable. Being vulnerable and saying, hey, I made a mistake. I messed up. This is what happened. This is what I did. I shouldn't have done it. I blundered. And then acknowledging that happened, and whatever consequences that comes with it is what, you're going to have to be willing to receive. Be honest with yourself. Don't pretend like it never happened. Sometimes we feel like if we're in denial as to what happened, if we don't talk about it, it won't happen. We hear that hurt people. It is true. Sometimes, you will hurt people if you are honest with what happened. You honest with what you did, your mistakes. I blunder. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done it. And you will have regrets. I often hear people say, oh, I have no regret. It is a part of living. It is a part of the circle of life. But you have a choice. You have a choice to let it go. You have a choice to accept it. You have a choice to either work on it, or you will be overtaken by guilt and shame. So accepting it for what it is, accepting the experience, and give yourself freedom to move on. Give yourself freedom to drop it and to let it go, to enjoy life. Accept yourself for who you are. Nobody is perfect. We all make mistakes. I think sometimes people put us at a very high pedestal, and if you make a mistake, especially if you are somebody that is in a leadership position, or you may have maybe a administrative position at your job, or you may be like an older sibling, you might even be like the matriarch of your family or the patriarch of your family, and you made a mistake that probably people may feel like, how could you should know better. How could you do something like that? Letting it go is to just realizing that I'm human and I make mistakes, and this is what happened. Apologize, and get it off of your chest. There is no need to ruminate over and over about what has happened. So letting it go, accepting it for what it is, apologizing for what happened, and taking the first step into how do you process, this entire thing that has happened, this mistake that has happened. Sometimes we find that it's okay that we cannot let it go. It's a process. It takes a while. I know it sounds easy when I say let it go. I know it's not going to happen in one day. But I will say this. If you do not allow yourself to accept it for what it is, be honest about what happened, practice letting it go, you will be a slave and you'll be entrapped in those negative emotions. And so it's something that has to happen in order for you to move on and for your well-being. Do a lot of develop some realistic expectations. Sometimes we have some unrealistic expectations of ourselves. And I think more than anything else, this is what weighs a lot of people down. I have heard people say to me that, oh, I'm a perfectionist. There is no such thing as a perfectionist. If you believe that you are a perfectionist, that is a recipe for disaster. Because whenever you cannot match to that unrealistic expectations that you have set for your life and for yourself, you will fall short. And what happens when you fall short? You will be depressed. You will have anxiety surrounding why you have let yourself down or why you have allowed yourself, to make such a mistake. So forgiving yourself, setting realistic expectations, finding that you will not measure up all the time to everything that is happening. No matter how hard you try, there will be times that you just will not measure up. And if you have healthy expectations of your life that are achievable and that you can fulfill, it will not be draining. It will not be negatively impacting your health. If you have unrealistic expectations of your life, mentally it is going to be draining, and psychologically it is going to weigh negatively on your health. And so we say stop and let the past be the past. Live in the present. Stop beating yourself up for your past mistakes. It's okay that you messed up. We mess up every day, and I hate to use the cliche that we are humans, but it's true. You can go out and you can know better. As a therapist myself, there are times that I have done some things that I question, wow, I made a poor decision. But then I have to realize that, Quita, you are a person yourself. Even though you have gone to school to learn certain things. However, it does not safeguard you from mistakes. It does not safeguard you from life. Life happens. And as long as you interact with people, you will have situations that are uncomfortable. Avoiding uncomfortable situations by not talking about it is a way that you can invite guilt and shame, actually, because what is happening, you internalize all of that and you are beating up on yourself. So talking about it, letting it go, helps you to banish the guilt and shame, and helps you to control those negative thoughts. Think about problem solving. How can you problem solve the situation that happened in the past? Why this happened? How did it happen? Sometimes we are stuck. Don't be stuck on the why, because sometimes you never know the why it happened to you. People often say, why did this happen to me? There are times that you will not know the why. And it's okay not to know the whys. I have clients come to me and tell me that they're tired of being a prisoner of their negative thoughts. It's draining. It is draining. It is draining. It is draining. And you indeed feel like a prisoner. I mean, I mentioned earlier, there are times that I find myself in situations, and I am an overthinker by nature because I tend to overanalyze situations. And so I find myself thinking about things that has happened over and over and over. And I think, talking to friends and family who would tell me, Quita, let it go. It's okay. It has already happened. You have to move past it. Talking about it is one thing that kills my friends and my families, but I find that the more that I talk about it, the more that I'm able to process it, purge it, bring it out, and I find that I'm less negative about it. Having a positive self-reflection. For instance, thinking about why your supervisor was upset about your evaluation, or what is it that your supervisor wanted to talk to you about, without internalizing it. What helped you in the past reduce all of that negative effects when you had a similar situation. You can ask to talk to your supervisor. Hey, can I talk to you about my evaluation, or can I talk to you about something? Instead of internalizing it and blaming yourself for what has happened, talk to that coworker, talk to that friend. Sometimes there are certain situations that it's best to leave alone. I agree that there are some things that you may just have to let it go. But I suggest that you might have to, talk about it with somebody that you can trust, somebody that you know. Forgiving yourself, guys, is very crucial. I'm telling you. If you do not forgive yourself, you will be a prisoner of your negative thoughts. Because folks out there that are looking to hold your past over your head, they want to see you ruminating about it. They want to see you in a negative spin, so they can say, look at her, look at him, look at how, and you will not move on unless you have forgiven yourself about the negative that has happened, the past that has happened. So we're talking about rumination and talking about holding, overthinking your past mistakes. That is what we are talking about tonight. So I talk about, forgiving yourselves, letting it go, forgetting about it, and moving on. I talked about, in order to do it, I know that it's easy to say forgive yourselves. There is no easy way to cut corners when it comes to that. But it is overwhelming, overthinking your past mistakes. It is something that, brings a lot of guilt and shame. If you do not talk about it, if you do not process it, it brings on feelings of anxiety, depression, and there have been studies that have shown that people that tend to overthink, people that tend to ruminate about situations, they have health issues as hypertension, heart disease. Nobody knows how much you are in agony of your past mistakes. So it behooves you to forgive yourself, to let it go, and to move on. You are not doing yourself any justice by allowing them to see you, or by behaving like your life is over because you have made a mistake. I hate to tell you that for as long as you live, you will make mistakes. And so the more that you learn to process it, and you learn to let it go, and you learn to forgive yourself, and you learn to move on, the easier that it will be. We all heard about why is it important to forgive. People may tell you, forgive yourself, forgive other people. It's true. Why allow yourself to go through a lot of stress? Why allow yourself to go through a lot of anger? It affects your sleeping pattern. I don't know about you all, but I know that when I am upset about something and I'm overthinking it, I do not sleep. I stay up all night long processing in my mind something in my mind that I view as a mistake or something that is bothering me. I do not sleep. It bothers me. Sometimes I have a lot of tension headaches. Sometimes I have upset stomach. People have reported a decrease in appetite. People have reported, decrease, like I said, in the energy level. It drains you. It drains you physically. And you are there suffering, as I mentioned earlier, being a prisoner to all of this. And you are ruminating, overthinking that mistake, overthinking that past relationship, or overthinking that argument that you had with that friend or that co-worker. And all of this is impacting your psychological and your mental well-being, as well as physical. So don't punish yourself. It's the last thing I want to leave you with. Do not punish yourself about your past mistakes. Don't try to make up for what you have done for those past mistakes. They are the past. The wrong that you have done, there is no way that you can make up for it. There is no way that, you can fix what has happened. It has already happened. There is no need for you to call yourself a no good loser. There is no need for you to call yourself all of these negative things that you tend to call yourself. There is no need to beat up on yourself. Those folks that are out there that are judging you for your mistakes that you have made, they have already, trust me, they're already beating up on you. So do yourself a favor and let it go. Do yourself a favor and forgive yourself. Do yourself a favor and self-reflect and leave the past in the past. It's a tough process. But do yourself a favor and think about why, these things happen, why you found yourself in that situation. What can you do to change it? And how can you live past that? So that is all I have to talk about tonight, guys. I said that it will be very short. However, I will extend this time period for us to interact. So we can, if you have any questions, throw it my way and I will be glad to answer you. Again, please share the video. Please like the video as well, and invite your friends to watch. Redirecting overthinking definitely works. Redirecting overthinking, channeling all of that negative into something positive, foster the negative thoughts into positive thoughts. You may need to engage in some activities. We know that physical exercise is one that is known to decrease your stress level, and also it helps you, to filter out those negative thoughts. So going for a walk, going to the gym, you might want to do some kind of a physical or something, engage in something that will fill your mind with more positive thoughts. So definitely, rechanneling that. But if it's something within your relationship that has to be addressed, it doesn't matter how much you overthink it. If it has to be addressed, it has to be addressed. And like I said, having that conversation, Having a conversation is something that needs to happen. You cannot avoid it. If you are somebody that has an avoidant personality, there are some folks that avoid difficult situation, that it's not going to work for you because it's going to come back up over again. So that's something that you have to. Yes, talking to somebody that you can talk to. And of course, you can always call me. So yeah, it is true that talking to somebody that you trust, a friend, a family member, is some ways that you help you. You know, I listen to music a lot. Music is very therapeutic. I listen to a lot of relaxing songs, kind of help me to decompress my mind. I do that a lot. I read my Bible a lot. I listen to, gospel songs, encouraging music, uplifting music. So if the person does not acknowledge that overthinking is a problem, first of all, you giving them, legitimate reasons why you feel that they overthink, of course. Of course, we all want to have something to back up what we're saying. So I'm not going to accuse you for overthinking if I don't tell you here is why you overthink. You are stuck in this negative circle. So then I wanted to explain to you why I feel that you are overthinking situations and that you are stuck in the past. There are times that you can go over it with this person. And I think that if they do not see it as a problem, you have to let them go. This is where self-awareness, as I said, self-awareness and self-reflection comes in. If that individual has not reflected within themselves to know that this is a problem for me, you can mention it to them all you want. It's not going to make them see what you're saying because they don't see it from your lens. They do not see it as a problem. So from what you view as a problem, to them, it might just be just who they are. And there are individuals that are wired to overthink, like I mentioned earlier. There are people that, but that's a cognition thing. That's how their brain process. They overthink. So when something happens, what is going to take you maybe a day or two to get over, for those people, it might take months, some of them even years, to really process that. Some of them even years. They will bring up that situation over and over and over. I'm sure that some of us know people like that. So yeah, that's just something that, you got to have a constant conversation with that individual. So I'm taking questions for those of you that just joined. Please share the video, like the video on Facebook. We are talking about overthinking, ruminating, and the effects that it has on your physical health, mental health, and what can we do to stop this negative pattern of thinking. What can we do to stop it? So how can we reduce it, really? What can we do to reduce rumination? Therapy is always a choice. As I said, speak to somebody. The ideal is to speak to somebody who is compassionate, who is non-judgmental. If you have family like I do, chances are, after a while of talking to them, they're going to tell you, oh, forget about it. You need to let it go. Most family and friends will do that to you. So if you find that you are stuck in this negative circle pattern of behavior, then it needs to go to either a life coach or a therapist that can help you decompose, get rid of all of those negative patterns of behavior. They will be able to show you what your negative pattern of behavior is and then help you through the process to reduce or to eliminate those negative patterns of behavior. So therapy is definitely always a choice. There is no pill that can stop worrying. There are folks that even take pills for anxiety. We always, in therapy, we always pair medication with behavior therapy, because there is no magic pill that will stop it. No magic pill. You can take something that may put you to sleep so that you don't focus on the issue, so that you don't focus on what you're doing. But unfortunately, there is no magic pill that can stop you from worrying. So I'm sorry. Look, as a therapist, I tell you this. We have too many clients. We have too many stories. I don't sit there and judge my clients. I'm speaking from me. When I am in a session with clients, I'm thinking about, what can I do to help this person? What are some ways that we can solve this situation? How can we make this better? So in my mind, that's what I'm thinking. I'm not judging you because I don't have my stuff together. So if I sit there as a therapist and I'm thinking, oh, how can she do this or how can he do that? I'm not being genuine because, let me tell you guys a secret. The school that I went to, Johns Hopkins, we had to go through therapy in order to be a therapist for other people. We had to sit in that chair and unload all of our stuff so that we know what it feels like to be in that chair. So I have gone through therapy myself. So I know what it feels like to sit before a total stranger and to tell them my business and have the fear of them thinking, oh, she must be stupid. But we are not trained to do that. We are trained to look for solutions, to look for ways to help you better off your life. So, Manda, if that is your fear, erase that out of your mind. If you have a good therapist who is seasoned, who is compassionate, who is non-judgmental, you will never have to experience your therapist misjudging you. Yeah, sometimes, Eleti, we overplay it in our mind, and your body tends to get rid of certain things. But again, I'm sure that it helps. I'm sure that it helps, that you have talked about it, and you may not know how positive, it is for you to actually talk about it. Whether or not you talk about it to friends and family, in your mind, you might just be talking about this problem that you have. But what you're actually doing is the art of purging. So you have purged it over and over. And after a while, you do tend to forget it. You do tend to tell yourself, look, because you are tired being a prisoner in your own thoughts. That's what happens when we overthink. When you overthink situations, you become a prisoner in your own thoughts. So for those of you that are joining, thanks for coming on. Please share the video. Please like the video. We are talking about overthinking on our past mistakes. We are talking about ruminating and how it can be negative for our physical, emotional, psychological health. We are talking about what can we do to reduce rumination, and what can we do? What are some steps that we can take to improve a positive mindset? So this is what we are talking about. We talked about engaging in some positive self-reflection, forgiving yourself, letting it go, forgetting about it. Do not hold your past mistakes over your head. Do not beat up on yourself. We all make mistakes. And for as long as you live, you will make mistakes. You cannot safeguard yourself from that. However, you can learn to talk about those mistakes. You cannot avoid it. You can learn to process it. You can learn to work on ways that you can let it go and forgive yourself. So again, please share the video. Thank you guys for all the great questions. I'm here every Thursday night at 7 p.m. on the Friendly Counselor Live. If you have not reviewed my previous videos, I suggest that you do review them. I know, I'm sorry. You can hear my voice tonight. I told them I was live and they are still talking. It's funny because you said hi, boys. Every night I have a critique. Every Thursday night when I'm done with my live video, I have, my critics, and my boys are my critics too. So they are downstairs, but they're actually listening to everything that is been said. And so they have a whole bunch of questions about my topic. Every Thursday night, they have things as to what, I said, what I said, why I said it. So I know tonight I will have some questions. But if you guys do not have any more questions, any more, anything else that you would like to talk about on this topic of ruminating and overthinking, I will go ahead and log off. If you have any questions, shoot it my way. If not, I will go ahead and log off. Thank you guys so much for joining in tonight. Please again share the video. Please invite your friends, and yeah, join me next week at 7 p.m. on the Friendly Counselor Live. So I see, somebody just threw a question in there. I try not to confront people because of their personality. Yeah, sometimes, I mentioned earlier that every situation, sometimes you will not have to confront it. There are some that you will have to let go. However, ruminating, the process of overthinking, happens in your mind. So you can definitely forgive yourself for that. If you choose to let it go and you choose not to confront it, you have to, in your mind, let it go, forgive yourself. If it is a relationship that took place in the past, what good it is to you losing sleep over that relationship? It will serve you no purpose but to cause you mental agony, and you live in your own prison within your body, your thoughts, and those negative thought process that is enslaving you. The more that you overthink on those negative patterns of behavior, on what happened in that relationship, on what happened at that job, the more that you overthink it, you are going to breed more negativity. And so fostering, engaging in some kind of activity that will bring that positive, thinking to you, and letting it go, forgiving yourself for the mistakes that you made. I would tell them, Judy, I want to give a shout out to my friend Mayman Dasin. Her birthday is tomorrow, so happy birthday, girl. Enjoy your birthday. Thank you guys again for logging on. Please share the video. Please invite your friends to join us next week. And have a good night, everybody. Thank you for logging on. I appreciate the conversation. Bye now. Take care.